Good morning. Welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to 2018. Well, it is with a heavy heart that we start this year. Diane Stewart, one of our precious practitioners, made her transition. She served here as a practitioner for 23 years, and it takes several years to get into that position. I was reading some of the history last night to refresh myself. That the history I was reading goes back to 1973. Although she wasn't quite on board at that moment, she was searching. She called me several weeks ago, and we had a nice chat. And she was concerned that she couldn't uphold her practitioner duties because of what she was walking through. And she confided in me to keep it confidential, which I did, of course. But she said she wanted to relinquish her license because she couldn't serve at the level she wanted to. I said, no, that's not the way this works. You're not getting off that easy. I said, we will take you off the program so that you aren't receiving calls for assistance anymore, but we're keeping you on the prayer ministry because your consciousness is so powerful. She was a healer. She demonstrated what we teach in everything she did. She served on the board in several different positions. She was instrumental in holding the consciousness together at times when this center walked through some valleys of the shadow as we know it. I'm just going to read a quick thing from the history. Diane Stewart, practitioner emeritus, made her transition Friday, January 5th, I believe. She got her practitioner's license from this church in 1995, 23 years ago. In January of 1973, a young minister of religious science arrived in Grants Pass with a small capital and a burning desire to found a religious science center in the area. And he made a few contacts. And in February of 1973, Reverend John Cullen held his first meeting at the community center. I just wanted to take time to honor this center's history because we wouldn't be here if they weren't here. Very powerful people that had a vision of what life could be like, thinking differently, thinking outside the normal, traditional boxes, as it were. So, I'm going to leave this picture up here. I was back at the table with our practitioner cards, and her card was still back there because she served at such a high level. And I'm just really blessed to have gotten to know her and to have worked alongside such a powerful woman and just a powerful practitioner. So she is emeritus, which means after 20 years of serving, you're in. It's like tenure. When you get tenure as a teacher, you're just going to be a teacher. You're just a practitioner for life. You live it. It is who and what you are. So, this morning is the first Sunday of January, and most of our churches talk about the beginning. So let's take a look at this thing called the science of mind. It looks like a Bible, right? We dressed it up with the gold, and this is my Bible. This is my manual for living, if you will. So I'm going to take you through a couple things here that are kind of overlooked In the very beginning of the textbook, there's this thing that Ernest wrote, and it's his little introduction to invite you in. And it says, "These lessons are dedicated to that truth which frees man from himself and sets him on the pathway of a new experience, which enables him to see through the mist to the eternal and changeless reality." And as we know, Ernest Holmes wrote in the masculine, but when you see the word man, he means human. So a lot of people reading this, they get the hair up on the back of their neck. They're like, why didn't he say us or all humankind? Well, back in the 30s when this was written, that was the accepted writing style. But then he writes this: "Peace be unto thee, stranger. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter in, and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and thou art welcome to my home. There is room in my house for all. I have swept the hearth and lighted the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you will find comfort and rest within. The table is laid with the fruits of life and spread before thee. The wine is here also. It sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit and drink the wine. All is yours, and you are welcome." Isn't that inviting? Makes you want to go, wow, I want to read this whole thing. Well, the first 4 weeks are the first 4 chapters of the textbook, which is about that much of this book. First 4 introductory chapters, which include the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. The first chapter is the thing itself. It's 10 pages. So the first chapter brings us that much. Chapter 2 is only 5. So, if you think you see this book and you're, I can't read all that, pace yourself, my friends. So, let me get to my notes here so I just don't miss anything. So, what is the thing itself? The thing. Ernest was careful not to call it himself, itself, because God is genderless, colorless, because it includes all genders, all colors, everything that is. There is not a spot where God is not. What you are looking for, you are looking with. Wow. I'm still wrapping my mind around that one. Because that means that, I went in search of God when I first thought that there was some power that, I knew that I wasn't making the waves crash on the beach. I wasn't making the shooting star go by or the sun shining or the moon glowing. Something was doing that. Now, it took me a while to get over that it wasn't me doing that. Actually, I was more awed by the power, right? What is this thing called life? What is that when I get a cut, heals it? We dressed the wound. I did the hydrogen peroxide, neosporin. I was taught well. Mom taught me well. Kiss it better. Hey, it's the kiss that is actually the healing elixir. It is. A kid can fall down and you can dress the wound, but until you get that kiss it better, and then the kid goes on and plays like nothing happened. Boom, instant healing. So what is this science of mind? I've reduced it to a couple sentences just to keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple, sweetheart. The study of life and the natures of the laws of thought. The study of life and the natures of the laws of thought. That means that the laws of thought work in a certain way. There are laws in our universe that work a certain way. Let's take gravity. Anywhere you drop a pencil in this plane of existence, it will fall to the earth. That's the way gravity works, right? We can pretty much assume that that works for anybody, any gender, any color, anything. I mean, nobody could be in the room and it could fall off the table and it will fall to the floor. So we know that gravity works a certain way. If I'm walking across the street and I come to a curb and I don't lift my foot high enough and I kick the curb, if that curb didn't see me coming and know that I'm Reverend Steve and that it should move itself down for me because I haven't lifted my leg high enough, it doesn't work that way. The laws of the universe don't bend for me or anybody else. Unless I go up in a plane and we descend really fast. And what happens? Whoa, hey, cool. Or if I get in the outer atmosphere, hey, whoa, I'm floating around, right? Well, right now, you are in your spacesuit. You are wearing your spacesuit, spirit. Isn't this cool when you think of it like that? You get to move around this plane of existence in a free-floating body that has the power to think and reason and to go wherever it chooses, as long as you don't hurt yourself or somebody else. That's powerful, isn't it, when you think of it that way? My dad, my great guru, says, your body is a place your soul parks itself for an instant in eternity. For an instant in eternity. Man, this is a long instant. And there's a lot of drama attached to this instant, isn't there? Sure seems like longer than an instant. So the science of mind is my operating manual. It's like we were given the most powerful computer in the world, one whose capacity is infinite. Infinite capacity. Google, right? You type anything in there. It doesn't say, oh, you've got to the end of the internet now. Go look in a book. Right? Think about it. The book tells us to Google it. Most of us were taught by our teachers and our parents who use it as a calculator or at best a word processor. Just think if we only used Word in our computers, right? They're so much more powerful than that. But if we only knew that Word was the only program that was available, if we didn't know that we had access to the internet, the interweb, or whatever that thing is, without an operating manual, we use it for what we think it can do and what we've proven for ourselves it can do. The science of mind is our operating manual. It opens avenues and programs we haven't even thought about. Life, if used according to the science of mind, has the capacity to broaden our lives infinitely. Infinitely. You can be, do, and have anything you want within the laws of certain ideas. Doesn't matter who you are or where you are. If you mix two colors, you will get a third color. Right? We've learned that. Now don't ask me which colors make what, because I always get confused about that. So what is this thing called the creative intelligence? In the first chapter of the textbook, it refers to this thing called the creative intelligence. You know what it is? It's the ideas you need when you need them, that come from who knows where. That when you get to the end of trying to figure it out and you go, I don't know, and you get still. When you walk away from a puzzle or a challenge because you're at the end of your rope and you get still and are quiet, and the answer comes. The knowledge was just waiting for you to get to the end of yourself so that you would access Google. And boom. You know that feeling when like you had a challenge or some situation, you just didn't know where to go, and maybe you had a little cry about it. It was so perplexing that you finally said, I just let this go. And something happened, something rushed in, some call was made, some intervention happened, and you were catapulted into the next dimension because you had gotten to the end of the one you knew. It's so exciting. I love that part. I mean, we live our life wanting to be catapulted, you know? I mean, back when I did drugs, that was why I did. You know, I wanted to be catapulted into the next dimension. I thought that was the way to do it, but I was so out of it that I never enjoyed it. There is a way to do it without. It's allowing the divine to express through you as you. Emerson says, get your bloated nothingness out of the way so the divine circuits can flow. I just love that. My bloated nothingness. Boy, was I full of bloated nothingness. Because I thought I knew everything. I thought that, oh, I've got this down. And all of a sudden, some realization happened. Something I thought was the truth turned out to be not the truth. And I had to reformulate my whole standard of thinking. I mean, each one of us in this room have had that experience, or you wouldn't be here right now. I mean, we are on the cutting edge of metaphysics and new thought. We are out there on the skinny branches of life. Because that's where the fruit is. Right? That's where the fruit is out there thinking like no one has thought before. You know, and at first people think you're crazy. That's crazy thinking. And that's the new normal. A miracle is a science we don't understand. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means that because we can't figure it out, we label it as a miracle. That's a miracle because I don't understand how it happened. I don't have to know. Some things I don't want to know. All I want to know is that it can happen and then it's possible for us. Open your mind. Look inside your mind. The truth you long to find is hidden in your dreams and in your fantasies. It's hidden in plain sight. I love that. So what do you believe God to be? A man on a cloud, like some cosmic bellboy? You know, you throw something out and he goes and fetches it for you and drops it in. Up in heaven with a list of good deeds and bad things, like a Santa, you know, like, oh, you were good. You get it. Oh, you were a bad boy. You don't get it. It doesn't work that way. Look around you. You are seeing God in everything. Or are you seeing God in everything? What are you looking for? Because if you look too close, you might scare yourself. Ernest Holmes says on page 124 of the textbook, we arrive at a consciousness of unity only in such degree that we see that what we are looking for, we are looking with. That is so cool. I can stop looking. I can stop the craziness of the mystery and just, can you live in the mystery and be okay with not knowing? All of a sudden, music flies out of the dog do. Literally, because you start to know that everything has purpose, everything has meaning. Just don't step in the dog do. Right? It's okay if we can move our foot just a little bit over and happen to step in front of someone fleeing from the police officer who just did a naughty no-no and bump them so the police could catch them. Wow, how did that work? It's one of those, like, I couldn't have planned this to work this way. But somehow, some power went before you and orchestrated your life to be working in such a way right now that it works. That's a miracle, right? You are the creative intelligence. You are the creator of your experience, and you decide what enters your life and what leaves it. So what are you choosing? And when I read that in the textbook for the first time, I threw that textbook across the room. Said, no, life's happening to me. You don't know what I've seen. You don't know me. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask to be sick. I didn't ask for her to leave me. How is that good for me? And then I traced everything back to what actually happened in the situation, and it always was for my highest and best. It always worked out to be some sort of miracle in some way. I had to go back and rethink some things. She wasn't doing it to me. She was doing what she did, and I happened to be in the midst of the experience where I became the victim, I thought. It was the perfect experience. It brought exactly what I needed for my ultimate highest and best. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the lesson is learned, the student disappears, and so does the teacher. And they go off to be students and teachers for others. That's how it works. She didn't leave me. The lesson was over. We got to the end of our experience. God bless it. Of course, I could hang on to that and make her wrong the rest of my life and tell everybody about it. Like I said, the mailman wouldn't even deliver mail to my house because he knew what the story was going to be. He waited till I left to drop my mail off. Science of mind is an operating system for the human condition. But like all operating manuals, it doesn't serve us very well if it sits on the shelf and we don't open and study it. It takes work. I don't want to do the work. This operating system is available to everyone. It is inherent in who we are. It's built into your DNA. You don't have to go out and download 2.0 you. You already have a divine connection. Most of us have cell phones, right? Some of us. It's this new thing. It's great. You get your own number and call people. But that cell phone is hooked up to a satellite somewhere, I guess. That's how it works. Or some station that goes to a satellite. But even when I turn it off, it's still there for me. If I want to talk to somebody, I know I have to turn the phone on and call a number. You don't just go, hey, universe, hook me up. Turn it on. Turn it on. GPS, God's positioning system, God's power source. So, it operates like a computer on a principle, and a principle is a law or a fact of nature, which makes it possible for working anything out. So like a computer, where if you press 1 + 1, you know you get 2. So it is with the science of mind. Garbage in, garbage out. If I sit in front of my word processor and just do this on the keyboard and press print, I can't expect to get a perfectly trimmed document with all the spelling correct. I mean, spell check is good, but come on. You've got to put something into it coherent. So when we understand this and are prepared to surrender our habitual prejudices, justifications, the principle of the law of mind and the teaching of science of mind will naturally be the effect. Consciousness is open to everyone. There's not like a club where we say, well, here's my shoebox that has God in it. And for you to believe what I believe, you have to believe the exact same way. It doesn't work like that. This is an all-denominational, non-denominational teaching. That's what I love about it, is that I can go and sit in any church, synagogue, center, place and get something. Because truth is truth. It just is. We don't have a corner on the market. So in conclusion, we need to begin applying the ancient truths of science of mind into our life and know that as we apply these teachings, everything that occurs and everything you experience is taking you to your own true purpose. You are on purpose. You would not have showed up here today if you were not on purpose. So congratulations, you've made it. We're where we wanted to be. Now, you may not be experiencing life in the exact perfect way. You know, if your life is an event that God is having, I used to be an event coordinator. Well, I still am every Sunday. How's the catering at your event? How's the financing doing? Is there a budget? Or are you just winging it? How's the communications director doing? Just things to think about. So, in order to live life fully, we must be prepared to understand that we are dealing with a law of life and that it's based on certain true principles. And we must work within those principles. Where you put your energy must become the form of your experience. This is the way the law works. Energy flows where your attention goes. If your attention is on what's not working, you get to create more of that. So move your mind to the solution. What's the solution for whatever challenge? Just imagine that there was a solution for whatever challenge you're walking through. It may not present itself in this moment, but it will. As long as we unhitch ourselves from the cart of the challenge and rehitch ourselves to the solution, watch what happens. And so it is. Amen. Well, just a couple things before we get to the prayer. Last week we did this little thing that, and there's a couple of them back on the table if you weren't here. What you do is you fill out this pink one. These are the things you want to release. You notice it's smaller than the great golden goals for the year. There's a reason for that. And what we do is if you hand these into you could just put these into the suggestion box. Fold them up once you've put 10 things, and you can fill out the back if you want, that you want to release for the year. Maybe it's illness or lack or limitation or limited thinking. Fold it up, put it in that box, and I'll take care of it. I'm going to burn it in a nice little ritual I do. And then what you want to do is you want to take this yellow one, fill it out, put your name and the date, and put 10 things that you want to have happen this year. Maybe vacation, maybe abundant prosperity, maybe perfect relationship, maybe creative self-expression. I mean, come on, think big. This is your life, right? Right on. Lamborghini? This or something better? Ferrari, Lamborghini. Well, I think Lamborghini, but Ferrari, yeah, hey. Whatever it is, write it down, because once you write something down, it carries some power. It goes from just something pinballing through your mind into something in the physical world of form. It's a word on a piece of paper, which is the beginning of manifestation. From there, it can become something bigger. But if we don't even write it down, do we believe? So then you take and you fold that up and you put it in this envelope I provided, put your own address on it, and then leave it on that back table in a pile. And I will pray over them for the next year. I'll put them on my altar in my office where I do my prayer work. And I will pray on those. I don't open them and see who wants what, or that's not my business. My business is to know that it is so. I know that you are the manifester in your life. And then we send these back to you at the end of the year. And you forget that you even did this project. And you go, whoa, some of these things actually happened. It's incredible doing this. Like I said, the thing that I wrote down on this piece of paper about a girlfriend I had that I was in the process of releasing, the minute I put it into the fire that we were doing in the parking lot, she paged me. She left me a message saying she was sorry. I hadn't heard from her in months. How powerful is that? Coincidence? Well, if you believe in that sort of thing, there's no coincidence. All right, so let's get to our prayer for the day. So just bringing yourself to center, remembering that there is a power. And I invite you to bring to mind whatever you believe that power is for you. That power that breathes your body. That power that beats your heart. That power that loves you so much that it gave you life. Gave you the ability to think, to reason, and to know. And to decide for yourself what your favorite color is. I know that each one of us is a part of that same power. And embedded within us is that creative energy of manifestation and the ability to demonstrate. So as we take our attention off what no longer works, thanking it for its messages, and refocus our energy on